Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Ohio Gripe, coming to you from foamy Maslin.
Yay. Oh, that's right. There was that whole foam incident.
Well, that's right. We're going to talk about that real quick. Last Tuesday, apparently, the Sippo Creek decided to foam up on us. So much so that it took over somebody's backyard, and a lot of people stopped traffic to take pictures. It's all over the internet. You can find it everywhere. But I got a little bit of news here. Here's an article from 19 News, or 19, what is it? Cleveland 19, sorry. It says, mystery bubbles found in northeast Ohio determined to be non-hazards, officials say. There's another one. Oh, wait, never mind. That's something completely different. Moving on. Environmental group calls for deflating tires. That is a completely different subject. So apparently I got stuff all screwed up here. Foam spotted in Stark County. Not harmful, fire department says. So last Tuesday, it seems as if, I got it here, according to the Jackson Township Fire Police, cement sealer that leaked out of a container from, I can't say this, Cassler, Kessler?
That's what it sounds like, yeah.
All right, sorry if I'm butchering your name, but Kessler Landscaping, a valve on a container filled with liquid went into the soil. Then it started raining. The rain took the liquid from the soil to the nearby Sippo Creek, and it foamed up. So it turned out to be cement sealer, but it caused quite the stir around town. And I guess somebody's backyard, there's a picture here, says a massive wall of bubbles spill out from Sippo Creek in the backyard of Heather Rochelle. And yeah. And what's scary about that is at the time, nobody knew what it was. So kids want to go play in it, but you have to say no because you have no idea what the hell those things are.
Parents ruin all the fun.
Yeah. Nothing like a kid with cancer, right? But so it just turned out to be cement sealer, which is not bad for the environment. So wonder how long it'll take for that to get out of our creeks and stuff like that. That's nowhere near as bad as back in the day when the Cuyahoga River in Cleveland caught fire. Because of the...
Oh,
yeah. I can't remember when that was. You can Google it if you want. But way back in the day of the 90s, the Cuyahoga River actually caught... shouldn't say the 90s. I think it was longer than that. But it was so polluted. The river was so polluted from the factories that it caught fire. Water burned. So that was always fun.
that's kind of interesting. The first thing I looked up, that was the first thing that popped up.
When was that? Does it say when?
An oil slick on the river caught fire the morning of Sunday, June 22nd, 69.
Oh, I was way off. All right, well, it still happened.
That looks kind of interesting.
Yeah, only Cleveland can have flammable water.
That don't surprise me. Not one bit.
But at least this time it turned out to be a faulty valve that caused the bubbles, so no one was really to blame, really. It was an accident, and at least it wasn't something that's going to kill all the wildlife, and poor Rochelle is going to, or not poor Rochelle, but poor, whatever her name is not going to wake up to a bunch of dead grass, let's hope. So
That could be very interesting and very bad at the same time. Because I'm all for wildlife, but to have something crazy like that happen and a whole bunch of bubbles be the downfall of it all, that's not good.
Mm-hmm. But that's all we have to say about that. Turned out to not be such a big idea. For those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, you can Google it. Just Google Maslin and bubbles, or Sippo Lake and bubbles.
Bubbles. Gotta love it.
All right.
I'd like to say, though, I took my test a couple days ago, the civil service exam, and I was terrified. I'm not good at tests.
You should be terrified. Becoming a police officer is no small feat.
No, but I'm not a good test taker, and I psych myself out before I even start it, and it's just all downhill.
Yeah.
Well, I took the whole, 2 hours that they give you. I got there at like 5:10, maybe a little bit before. Started at 6. I got done at 7:45, 7:50-ish. That was brutal. Test anxiety is a thing, man. And it's terrifying. It is no fun.
Like I said, it shouldn't be fun. You're trying to. I mean, it's a dangerous job, and you got to know what you're doing.
Oh yeah, for sure. But
it's more than just walking around with a gun on your hip. So I actually am an advocate for more psychiatric testing.
Yeah.
Like the dude, I mean, the whole George Floyd thing. You know, I mean, that dude stood on that guy's neck for 8 minutes.
Yep.
What normal human being does that?
And think it's okay.
Yeah, and I mean, this guy either he was an actual racist and just wanted to hurt a black man, or he had a mental issue and was either so out of, how do I put it? I call it being like disconnected from reality. I think it's I think a lot of people nowadays, especially when they talk about politics, are just they're like Whoopi Goldberg and The View. All of those women, I believe they are just completely divorced from reality. They live in their own little world. And that's why they can be as far left as they can, and they can say some of the dumb shit they can. And that's also why people watch them. It's like Jerry Springer. People watch Jerry Springer because they liked watching a human train wreck on their TV.
Yep.
The problem is that people like Whoopi and all those have gained some steam, and now people think that that's how you're supposed to be. But they talk about blue collar and regular Americans like they know. None of those bitches know a thing about actually living, like having a job that you have because it pays the bills, not because it's your dream job.
Yep.
What it means to get up every morning when you don't feel good and you didn't drink the night before. You just don't feel good. But you still have to go, and not only do you have to go, but you have to perform. Okay, most jobs nowadays do piecework or at least watch your production numbers or watch you as a whole. You can't go in the corner and hide for 15 minutes and just wait for your pounding headache to go away.
Nope.
You have to do the job.
If you do, you get in trouble.
Right, and then this is your job. This is how you put clothes in your kids' bags and food on the table. This is important. It's not something you screw up. So you have to eat that. You just have to find a way to work through it. That, or like a landscaper, it's hot as hell. It's humid as hell. There's no way you're going to be even remotely comfortable. It's actually dangerous conditions. And if you work for a company, you're probably not allowed to take your shirt off if you're a dude.
Probably not.
Which helps, but it's still, you have to be professional. And you just don't want to do it. You can only drink so much water before your stomach starts hurting, but you have to do it. It's your job. It's what you do. You hate it, but you like it. You like it because, you could have any job, and I'd rather work outside than, I'm like speaking to this fictitious landscaping person. I'd rather work outside, in the fresh air than to work in a factory, but today's going to suck. I would rather call off, but I can't call off,
losing money at that
those
point.
Those bitches on The View know nothing about that kind of lifestyle.
Oh, God, no.
Eating that kind of shit burger where you have to suck it up. You have to be miserable and a landscaper can work from sun up to sundown to be for crying out loud.
Most companies do. More money.
I mean, I'm just saying, that's just one type of industry, or maybe it's really cold. Maybe you have to go out there and put down mulch or put down bricks, and it's like 40 degrees and your fingers are hurting. Yeah. This is just, and people do it for many reasons. It's not a bad job. I mean, I worked in the repo industry for 4 years, and it had its upsides and it had its downsides.
Every job does, though.
Every morning I would show up to work, unlock everything, and when you work in the repo business, you get a lot of free stuff because people don't come and get their property, right? So if you repo a camper and they never show up to claim their property, you usually end up with things like coffee machines, cups. So, no matter where your property room is, you always have some space to set up a little kitchen. Every morning I would get, I'd buy bottled water, and I cleaned out a coffee machine, sterilized it, and I had coffee. Every morning when I show up to work, I would open up the property room, start the van, because, the van was old and had a lot of miles, so you just wanted to start it, let it warm up. And in the meantime, I had coffee brewing. And there's some mornings that just go home. Don't, just, I feel so awful. My knees are killing me. I got a headache because I didn't sleep. It's a terrible rainy day. Just tell your boss you can't. He's not going to mind. I mean, everyone calls off. And that devil on your shoulder gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yep.
Whoopi knows nothing about that.
None of them do. I don't.
But she's going to sit there and talk, and now I can't remember the whole reason I brought that entire thing up. What was I talking about? We were talking about people. Oh, that's right. So this police officer, like, those people are just divorced from reality. He had something wrong.
And my thing is the other, 3 or 4 people that just stood there and watched.
They were either afraid or they didn't care.
Yep.
I mean, you think about this. People are pretty similar, right? I mean, we all have different, or a little different. But when it comes to the complexity of the human mind, we're all taught pretty much the same in America as far as your education and your vocabulary. And you need vocabulary is how you think. The bigger your vocabulary, the more you can process thought. We think through words. Okay, the sky is the sky because it's called the sky, and the ground is the ground because there's ground, and then there's grass. It's all words.
Yep.
So everyone's pretty much the same, even regardless of our background. So here's 4 men who's watching someone stand on a neck. A neck. It's not like he was on his shoulders. His neck. So everyone had a right to be pissed off at this guy.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody, I don't think anybody was saying that, he deserves to die. It doesn't matter. The point is that police officer got into the academy, went through the academy, became a police officer, and he was obviously had some serious mental issues going on there.
Oh, yeah. Just to do it for 8 minutes. I think it was his knee on his neck.
Yeah, and his knee, and you know the difference between a shoulder and a neck.
Yeah.
Necks are squishy.
Yep.
And then there was that one guy that, if he was able to say I can't breathe, then he's breathing.
No, not necessarily.
You can get some air into your lungs, but it won't be enough to sustain life, obviously, because you can't fake death. You can't just, I'm going to teach this guy a lesson, I'm going to stop my heart. It doesn't work that way. If he died, there's a reason.
Yep.
So I'm all for psychology testing. I think everybody who wants to become a police officer needs to go because you need to be able to separate the arrogant asses who just want a badge because they think they're God's gift, and those
or their shit don't stink.
Right, and those who are genuinely trying to help people and upholding the law for the people who just want to live there, like people like that landscaper who just wants to get up in the morning, feel like shit, go play with some grass, go home and feed his kids.
I did see a video not too long ago. It was older lady, I guess she had some landscaping done to her house and she didn't want to pay the guy, and the guy called the cops and she tried to throw a hissy fit about it. Here to find out, the cops on the landscaper side, obviously,
Yeah.
She technically said she'd pay for her service, signed her name, never did, and he's like, you either pay him or you go to jail.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm on the side of police officers, period. But at the same time, I'm not against the academies, but I want...
Personally, I feel like they should teach it in school. Or like have like a career and tech program class kind of deal for it. Because Massillon has some of those now for the police academy.
Oh.
That way you learn most of it or some of it in school, and then if you still want to pursue it, you have the opportunity to. You have more knowledge than what most people would have, like me, for instance.
Yeah.
So I personally think it should be taught in school, but, that's a whole different ordeal.
Yeah.
I think it'd be 20 times better rather than, because right now the academy is only 18 weeks, 600 hours. And
do you feel like that's enough training to become a police officer?
Honestly, no, I don't.
Yeah.
I really don't.
I don't either.
Because it's only 18 weeks, only 600 hours. Yes, that's a lot of hours, whatever, But in the same sense, there's a lot of shit you got to know for police.
Yeah, it's not just the mechanics, like how to operate the vehicle under intense situations. It's not just how to operate your gun and or a taser. You have to learn people skills, how to diffuse situations, how to judge. And then there's always situations that you cannot, like the Columbus police officer who shot a murderer, or a potential murderer, and then got all that backlash. When you literally show up and you have seconds because you see a woman with a knife within seconds of stabbing someone, you don't have choices. It's just that simple. You don't have time to think. Period. Okay? So, and then there's also situations that you show up early enough that you could escalate by sticking your chest out and demanding things.
Yep. Thinking you're all...
Yeah, you have to know the difference between, okay, I have time here. I can work with this guy. I can talk with this person. I can find out what's going on. We don't have to haul him to jail immediately. Give him a chance to calm down. Tell him things like, hey, look, this is not that big of a deal. I'm going to, we're going to take you away, but you're not going to sit in jail forever. It's just a minor inconvenience.
Yep.
No one's going to shoot you.
And that's the other thing.
Unless you run.
Also got to think about not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. Like, say, a domestic violence case. I mean, nobody really wants to see about that or hear it or anything like that, and then you got to go there. I'm
not sure what you mean by hurt people's feelings.
By, how do I put it? By going there and then, like, you get pissed off because you see the situation. It's like,
you're talking about the police officer getting pissed off. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you need people to know how to control their emotions.
Yep, and that's the thing.
And that's another thing that can be taught, especially nowadays, when everyone's feelings have been boasted above intelligence. And let me tell you something. If you think there's no difference between thought and emotion, then you are disconnected from reality. They're two completely different. Just because you feel mad doesn't mean you should be mad, or you have a right to be mad, or that you're right, or that you're mad about something that is someone else's fault. If you're mad at yourself, that's fine. Don't take it on other people.
Yep.
I get mad at myself constantly. I read something and read it wrong. I go to say something and the wrong word comes out. Or I forget something that I thought I would remember. It happens every day. But you can't take it on other people. And then, again, if you don't control your emotions, you're just a recluse.
Yep, with a badge, too. And that's not a good thing.
You need to learn that. Cops need to kind of be level-headed. It's hard sometimes to cut through all their excuses and the intensity of the moment and know the truth, or at least the best truth you can come up with in the situation. Most cops, if I'm not mistaken, their job is to diffuse situations more than just take someone to jail.
Yep, and you can't take sides either, obviously.
Yeah. So defunding the police is not only stupid, it's childish.
Yes.
I hope I hurt your feelings. I really do. If you were into defunding police, then you're a child, because it is not reform. Reform is what you need to do, and you need to go after the police academies. Why aren't you teaching this? But anyway, just defund the police. They're the first to bitch when their house gets TP'd, robbed, or, their car broken into, or suddenly the murder rate rises. That is a direct result of stupidity of defunding the police.
Yep.
And I was surprised when Joe Biden said, fund the police.
I was too, because when he was...
Because I know Kamala Harris was all about the defunding the police.
Yeah, I was going to say, wasn't he all for defunding the police when he was running?
I don't think he was. I think that's what was surprising. I think it was all Kamala and, like, Pelosi.
That wouldn't surprise me one damn
right,
bit.
But I looking back now, if you have something, if you have footage or something, please share it with us. I don't mind being corrected, but I don't think he ever muttered that defund the police, and he's right. That's the wrong direction to go. You give the police funding, let the police know that you have their back, but you have demands.
Yep.
If you want to be a police officer, we'll give you the money you need to have the proper equipment, have good working cars. To have body cameras and that, but you stand on
go through a more extensive training.
You stand on
something.
Someone's neck, and I literally believe that police officer should have to share a cell with someone he arrested and put in that jail.
He probably is, honestly. I mean,
I hope so.
It would not surprise me one bit.
And calling him a murderer, I have no problem with that whatsoever.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
Because it doesn't matter if Floyd was a career criminal. That's not why he was being arrested.
No, it was not.
Being arrested was what was supposed to happen, not being murdered under the person who's supposed to be a peace officer.
With a whole bunch of people watching, too.
Yeah.
Didn't he have a little girl, too, or something? Or am I thinking of
Floyd?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I really didn't. I don't know much about Floyd. I know I watched Candace Owens kind of rip him apart because she said that, he's not my ambassador because he's a career criminal. And that's fine, and I get that. I completely, and I'm not black, so I really have no say in that, whether you're on his side because of, he's part of the culture, or whether you're on his side because he was a human being who got stamped out of this world by the, what's the word I'm looking for? By someone who's obviously got a mental issue, and secondly, what's the word I'm looking for? No, it doesn't matter. Anyways, he didn't deserve what happened. He deserved to be arrested, and he deserved his day in court. He didn't deserve to be murdered.
No, not at all.
Whether it was intentional or not, it doesn't matter. It was in a... What's the word I'm looking for? Was it... Damn it. I'm struggling. Was he inexperienced? How long was he a police officer?
You know what? Let's Google it.
I want to think... the word negligence keeps popping up in my brain, but that's the wrong word. and I can't seem to get past. He's just, I don't know,
Do you remember-
incomplacent.
wasn't it
I don't know.
Derek Chauvin?
Oh, I don't know his name. I can't remember my own half the time.
I think that was his name. Yes, it is. Derek Chauvin. American former police officer who was convicted for the murder of George Floyd. He was... Where'd it go?
The internet sucks these days.
Yes, it does.
I've been looking up Easter Bunny stuff, which we may get to talk to about today. And just every website has all these pop-ups.
He did get 22 years, though.
Okay. I just hope he never gets... He's not even allowed to be a mall supervisor.
Apparently.
Like, he can work in, like, a steel mill or something, you know.
He started as a police in 2001.
All right, so he was not unexperienced. He was just an asshole.
Yep. And then, apparently...
Inexperienced, not unexperienced.
He was a U.S. Army Reserve as well, from 96 to 04.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm all for more schooling. I'm also for psychology testing. I think that I honestly believe, and you can correct me if any of you can correct me if I'm wrong or if you disagree, but I honestly believe that police academies are just like colleges. They don't give a shit about what they teach or the outcome of their education. They only care about selling chairs. Let me explain. A college nowadays doesn't give a shit about whether the student graduates knowing these curriculum they went there for or not. They're only interested in selling a chair.
Oh, yeah, once they got the money,
yes, they sell a chair in a classroom or multiple classrooms. You put a butt in that chair, and their job is to get you out of that chair as fast as possible, whether you flunk out or speed up the lower the curriculum time and all that, so they can resell that chair. And I think academies are the same thing. They make money, and it's a money-making machine, and they don't care if the police officer ends up a good cop or a bad cop or a cop that just is not properly trained, doesn't really understand. They figure, he'll learn the rest on the job. And there's some areas that doesn't work. It works okay for doctors, I guess. I mean, our doctors are pretty good.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say anything about that. They must learn pretty good in that whole internship in the hospital thing. So I'm not going to mess with that, because I don't know enough about it. But it doesn't work for police officers, because the second you get on the street, even if you're with a partner, a senior partner, it doesn't matter. That partner can be shot in the head in a second, and now this guy who's relying on his partner for education, that guy's gone, and now he's on his own.
And
in
what
a horrible
the hell
situation.
does he do at that point in time?
Yeah, just pull out his gun and start spraying. I don't know. But my point is that, you know, when I think of academy, I often think about a movie. Now, this is my not knowing a damn thing about becoming a police officer, and I'll admit that. But I always picture, if you remember the movie, which of course I can't remember, Hannibal Lecter. What's Silence of the Lambs.
Yes,
remember
that's a good movie.
Remember how Starling was always running, and she had classes, and she was doing all that stuff. Now, that was the FBI, and I don't know if that's reality or not. That could just be complete fantasy made up by the guy directing the movie.
Hollywood, go figure.
But I always imagined that's what police academy should be like. There should be just months and months and months of, you know, personal training, education, and that. Whether that's actually true or not, I don't know. But
I don't think so, because I mean, I got the email and it was like, oh yeah, it's 18 weeks, 600 hours, and then after that, you graduate, whatever you want to call it, from the academy, and then you go out with a senior officer, and they basically just kind of
teach you the job.
Teach you
the job you should have was taught in the police. And what do they teach in a police academy?
That I couldn't tell you. I haven't made it yet.
Well, I'm going to be definitely looking into this. And if you are a police officer and you disagree with me or you agree and you want to talk about it, no problem. I won't argue with you. I'll listen to every word. We both will. Reach out. It's ohiogripe@gmail.com. I'd give you the phone number, but we seem to be getting new phone numbers every other week. So that whole thing, speaking of which, that whole thing is up in the air. But, you know, if you want to just, if you want to express yourself, man, hit us up. We'll listen. We'll listen to every word.
It was my mother calling again. Sorry.
You know? But anyways, so that's that whole mess. Once again, anybody who knows me knows that I'm pretty much against the entire educational system of this country. Lawyers seem to do pretty good. For some reason, law seems to be taught well in schools. I've never heard horrible stories of maybe I just haven't heard of them, of people graduating from law school, passing the bar exam, and then going into court and completely botching everything. So maybe they're out there, maybe they're not. But
I mean, there might be a couple, but it might not be some like high-profile case or something, or this person killed 3 guys, try and get them free kind of deal.
I know our public schools are an absolute train wreck, just an embarrassment, really.
Yeah,
they're an absolute embarrassment. What our educational systems, and of course, I speak from complete experience, even though it was 20-some years ago, maybe even 30 at this point, but still. It's just horrible because, once again, the schools are all about getting that tax money, more pay. Colleges are all about, it's a business now. It's no longer about the education.
Or the kids at all.
Yeah, and when I see a police officer do that, the first thing I think of is either he neglected his training and they said okay, or he simply didn't get it.
And if he was a police officer for 01 to 2020 or whatever it said.
No, it was much later. I think it was like 2016 or some shit like that.
I don't even remember now.
I know. It's all a blur. There's so much has happened since then that the dates and times become just a complete blur.
01 to 2020 is when he served for police.
So that happened in 20... No.
No, it didn't. That's probably when they finally...
they finally...
got rid of it.
Okay, because he was on like leave or some shit like that.
Yeah, he was on unpaid leave because of it.
Yeah. When did it happen, though? Now I'm curious. Just type in George Floyd.
He was apprehended May 25th, 2020, murder of Floyd. Unreasonable force to juvenile. And then... he got 22 and a half years, which it should be longer, but whatever. And he's 46 years old right now.
George Floyd?
No, Derek Chauvin, the guy who killed him.
Oh, it was. It was May 25th, 2020. Wow.
Yep.
It was only 2 years ago?
Yep.
See what I mean? It was a blur. That to me, it seems like so long before then.
Yeah, it does seem a lot longer. But in the same sense... the whole trial lasted forever, I feel like.
Well, it couldn't have lasted that long. It only happened 2 years ago.
But by...
Oh, wow. He was my age. He was only a few months older than me. He was born October 14th of 73. I was born in February 7th of 74.
Oh, wow.
So he was my age. I don't know why that matters. I'm sorry.
I mean, you're in a better place than he is, obviously.
Well, yeah, but I don't break the law. Me and the police have an excellent standing. When they turn on the gumballs, I pull over, period. And I don't shoot my mouth off. I say, hey, what's up, officer? I'm one of those guys that I shake their hand when they give me a ticket because I appreciate what they're doing. And if I feel I got the ticket unlawfully or wrong, then I wait and I have my day in court. That's what courts are for.
To dispute it.
Yes, you don't... I'm sorry. You can hate me if you want, but if you're resisting arrest... I don't want to say you deserve to get shot, but they got to do something.
Yeah, they got to get you down.
I'm all for those rubber bullets, the shotgun with the little...
Oh, yes. The
non-lethal, blow your ass on the ground. That's what I'm for. Or dogs.
I would just like to point out, George Floyd was 6'7".
Yeah, he's a big dude.
Holy hell.
But it doesn't mean you get to stand on his neck for 8 minutes.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
I'm all for dogs. I absolutely love watching those videos where the guy tries to run and they just, whistle. I can't whistle right now.
I can't whistle.
And the dog jumps out of the car and just like mauls the guy. I love it. I love it. Love those videos.
I do too, until you see somebody shoot the dog and then it's just like, damn.
Well, yeah, but
really?
then they go down for murder of a police officer.
Yep.
That's felonious assault.
Yep.
Now, granted, the dog got shot and that sucks, but I do put human life above dog life, and that's. My dogs are more valuable to me than...
So I'd like to point out, Floyd was arrested for a store clerk suspecting Floyd may have used a counterfeit $20 bill.
And he deserved to die from that.
That's flipping ridiculous.
That might have been a little bit of reach on my part. Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
And he probably resisted, which is why they were holding him down. But the guy had 8 minutes to reposition himself.
9 minutes and 29 seconds.
Oh, that's even worse. I thought it was 8 minutes. Oh, well. Like I said, the whole thing's a blur at this point. So much has happened because of it, and... But anyways, obviously that officer had something going on.
Or he was just a racist. I mean...
It's possible. It's extremely possible.
9 minutes in somebody's neck. I'm sorry. That's just absurd. Like,
it is.
As a human, you know damn well you have to breathe.
Yeah. It's almost like I wonder what was going through his mind. Did he think this guy, he doesn't deserve to stand? You know, because he said he was down on the ground.
Yes.
And I don't think he was thrashing around too much. So at some point, they got the handcuffs on him, right?
Yes.
So why didn't they pick him up then? I mean, there was several police officers. So you know what? I doubt there's a question we're going to ask that someone hasn't already asked.
Yeah, probably.
But I'm just saying. I think defunding the police is extremely stupid. But I also am completely for redoing police academies. Any police academies should get their money from the government, not from people joining. You know what I mean?
Yes. 100%.
That way, money has nothing to do with it. Like a police academy should not be a business or a school. It should be something you have to do if you want to become a police officer. It should be sponsored by the county, the state, or even the city, depending on the size. I don't think that you should have to pay to become a police officer, because once you eliminate that, you eliminate the corruption from money.
Yes. Floyd's family won the settlement for wrongful death. They got awarded $27 million, which that's a lot of money, yes, but in the same sense, that's not going to bring back their family member.
Yeah, I mean, ask yourself, what would you rather have, a ton of money or your brother or your son?
I would.
How much is your family member worth?
Yeah, I would much rather have the family member. The Derek Chauvin, the guy who killed Floyd.
What about the rest of the police officers? Did they get any charges?
I don't know if they got charged. I know they probably had to get charges, but I don't think it was as serious as Derek Chauvin, the guy who did do it.
Yeah.
But
they should have to go back through police academy.
Go back through. I mean, honestly, at that point, considering how much heat they got for it, I'm hiding.
Yeah. Yeah, you probably resign as a police officer.
Yeah, it's just, there's no way you're going to come back from that. I'm sorry. At least I
don't
think.
The only way you can is if you're arrogant and you don't care.
Yes.
That would be the mental problem I'm talking about. If they're so arrogant that they feel that we didn't do anything wrong. There are those people who are, and that's a mental illness. People forget that extreme arrogance, the inability to see that you did something wrong, is a mental condition. And it gets worse. It's like a weed. Starts as a seed, but it'll grow if you don't kill it. You know?
Yep.
Arrogance is a big problem. That is, I mean, I can go into so many different things. I'll probably never be able to keep them straight, but that's the only way that, because I agree. If I was to hurt someone, like accidentally hit someone with a car or, I don't know, just anything, any kind of an accident, and I hurt a human being, like really bad, not like I accidentally slapped them, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Really bad.
Oh,
I would probably be in a mental institution. I'd probably never be able to handle it.
Chauvin was convicted on 2 counts of murder and 1 for manslaughter on April 20th, 2021. I told you that trial lasted forever.
Still, 1 year, that ain't forever.
No, but, I mean, hopefully it felt like an eternity to Derek Chauvin, though.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be lovely.
Who cares? What felt like an eternity is having someone stand on your neck for 9 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. June 25th, 2021, that's when he got his 22-and-a-half-year prison sentence.
Oh,
right here. The other 3 officers at the scene were also later convicted of violating Floyd's civil rights. So they got charged.
But what does that mean? Are they allowed to be police officers? What happens to a police officer who get charged with a crime?
I don't know if I don't think you'd be able to be a police at that point.
Well, you would think, but that's when we find out that, they don't really care. Like, no, I'm not even going to do that. I was going to compare them to priests, and you know what I mean, but I'm not going to do that.
That's great. Let's see if I can find it. If I can spell right. Jeez.
Shit. Don't ask me for help. We actually had an Easter show planned out for you today, people, but it seems like this topic was, we're kind of bursting at the seams, so.
Yes.
But
set trial charges. Oh, crap. It refreshed. Where'd it go? There it is. Okay. Aiding and abetting over the role in the fatal restraint Floyd on a Minneapolis street in May 2020.
Ooh.
They have pleaded not guilty. Former officers were offered the plea deals on March 22nd, the Attorney General's office. That was just a few weeks after they were found guilty in federal court of violating Floyd's civil rights.
We're a little behind the times here at Gripe, but we do talk about things eventually.
Yes. All three former officers remain free on bail and have yet to be sentenced for the conviction in federal court in late February. Declined to share details. Land's attorney is not inclined to enter plea negotiation without knowing his client's sentence. Huh. That's interesting.
I wasn't listening, so were they police officers or not?
It doesn't even say.
Oh, well, there you go. But anyways. So, we have higher standards here at the Gripe, so if you do become police officer, we will be expecting you to fill the gaps, the gaps that the police academy will not teach you. If you are involved in a police academy and you feel that we're wrongly judging you, you are more than welcome to reach out. Again, we will hear and listen to you.
I feel like I'm still scared just because of how they do their scoring.
Yeah. Look, I'm in the same boat. I am horrible at academics. I'm horrible academically.
See, I am too, but then you got common sense or street smart, whatever you want to call it. And
that helps you. That'll help you on the street, but you still have to get through the schooling part of it.
But that's the thing. I've always been street smarter, common sense, whatever. But when it comes to academics, it's
horrible.
I don't want to say I wasn't the best, 'cause, I mean, I didn't apply myself, obviously, but in the same sense, it didn't interest me.
Yeah, well, this is what I have to say
part.
about that. I'm going to veer off a little bit because you're looking at two guys right now who suck at school, all right? And then you get Barack Obama that goes up there and says, everybody has a right to go to college. Everybody should go to college. Well, that's wrong. It's wrong in so many ways. Not every job needs to go to college. College, especially when they're just interested in selling seats and not the actual education, I think it's horrible. There are those of us out there who just are horrible in a classroom setting. People are different. Not everybody's the same. And you say, well, there's tutoring. I was in learning disabilities classes when I was in high school, and I still couldn't read. It takes more. Now, my father has always been able to teach me anything that I needed to know from him. Anything that he needed me to know or that I asked him to help me with, he has always been successful in teaching me what I would need to know. Now, you can argue, but my father knows me. I'm his son. And I also have half of his chromosomes. So I think he just has a basic understanding that whipping out a textbook and saying, read this chapter. Okay, now you can go work on that car. He just knew better. Here, let me show you. Let me grab that tool, take this off. I mean, he recently, within the last couple of years, taught me plumbing, like how to solder brass together and stuff.
Okay.
Because there was some plumbing that needed done in my house. I didn't want to pay someone. So he come over with the tools, and we went and we bought the brass, and he showed me how to cut the brass, how to drain the water, how to clean the brass, how to put flux on it and solder it all together, and we had a beer and enjoyed the work. Now, I only did it once, and I have a memory issue. So very soon we're going to tackle the copper underneath the sink because it's leaking a little bit. And I will need him to come back over here and give me a refresher class.
I was going to say, just as like a little refresher
because
so you get it again.
If I don't use it all the time, I lose it. That's why I'm so bad at math, because for years I didn't need math.
Oh, that's the thing. I
forgot
always terrible at math.
See, I wasn't. I was really good at math, but I stopped using it, so I forgot it. So that's my point. I was in learning disabilities classes because I needed that repetition. They constantly taught me the same shit every year because they knew that if they didn't, it'd be gone. The problem was school didn't actually care. They didn't care to engage me. They didn't care to make sure I was interested or knowing. Let me rephrase that. They didn't care whether I knew the importance of what they were teaching, like, say, history.
See, that's the thing. I loved history, though.
Well, yeah, it's interesting if you have a teacher that teaches it properly. But all I had was teachers who taught me dates.
Oh.
This date, this happened. This date, what date did the assassination of Kennedy happen? And I never put together that there was an assassination on a U.S. president. You know what I mean? That's a big deal. But it was 1963.
No, it was just a day.
It was just a day.
A normal day.
It happened in Texas. What do I care? I live in Ohio. They teach dates and not the important. The date actually is the least important part of the history.
Yeah.
Who gives a fuck when it happened? I mean, yeah, 1776 is a pretty important date.
Yes.
But if you have no idea what I'm talking about, and every American should know exactly, if I say 1776, you should know exactly what I'm talking about.
America.
But I'm willing to bet if you go up to, a kid who, I don't know, what grade do they teach that in?
I don't even know.
I don't know. It's been a long time. Anyways, the point is that, there's just some people who don't do well in a school setting. And you need to engage them differently because if you truly believe in No Child Left Behind, that means you care about whether the kid absorbs the information and knows it. Vocabulary is everything.
Yeah.
Find a way to teach him instead of putting a laptop in front of him saying, there, Google says this word means this. Google don't know shit.
Math is important, too. That's another one that I always had an issue with.
Everything depends on math.
Yep. I mean, some of the stuff they teach you with, algebra and stuff, I kind of feel like it's pointless, but...
Even video games needs math.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about making them. I'm talking about even playing them.
Yep. I'd have to say making it would be 20 times harder.
Oh, yes. That is literally math. So much math that the programs they use to create video games does the math for you.
My head would explode.
Yeah.
That's just doing too much.
I think a human being can learn anything. It just depends on the time. Some people are quicker than others, but that doesn't mean that just because you're not as quick as the guy beside you doesn't mean you can't learn it. It's just going to take you a little longer and it takes more effort. And that's another thing that upsets me about America's in schools is they want to act like, every child deserves the same thing. Every child deserves to go to Yale. You know what? Some kids don't learn that quick. So Yale isn't the right answer to them because it would take them 10 years to learn something that it might take another student 4.
Yep. And
it's not a strike against them. It's just the difference between this guy can learn something like us. The difference between us and someone like Dom. Remember Dom, right? Guy we work with. Yeah. Dom is just a smart kid.
Yes, he is.
And he can absorb information very quickly.
Yes.
And here's an example. He worked at where I work now for a month before I did. And yet I still go to him for information because he's just got it sitting in his frontal lobes, ready. And I'm the one going, okay, we have 4 here. Well, you left it. I can't remember if I scanned
it. Yeah, you're going to leave 38 or something.
And then we're going to...
The math wizard at Gojo.
Can't hit it with and I got to remember how to use a calculator.
Yep. The math wizard.
Yeah. So college is probably a good idea for Dom because he can go there for the 2.5 seconds they're willing to sell him that chair. Towards me, I'd have to go. The worst thing about that is people forget. People like Obama, everyone deserves to go to college. People forget that if you take me, for example, if I would have went to college, I would have most likely had to spend God knows how much money and how many years basically learning what high school should have taught me.
Yeah.
I would have had to get myself...
Especially your first year in college,
too. The whole year, maybe even 2 years, because I was that behind. I would have had to learn high school stuff before I could start the college classes.
Yeah.
Because I graduated at a 9th grade level, which means the school was only capable of getting me to the 9th grade, but I was still in 12th grade. So they said, just send it. Just give the kid a damn diploma and get him out of here. Yep. So I graduated with a diploma, but I basically graduated in 9th grade because they couldn't teach me past that unless I would have been held back 2 or 3 more years.
Jeez.
So if I would have went to college with that, the college probably wouldn't have. Well, the bigger college wouldn't have accepted me.
No,
because my grade point average was not that good. Yeah. My attitude was complete shit at that time. School was a prison for me. It was a place I had to go, not a place that I wanted to go.
Same.
And I did have a few teachers in the entire time I went to school that cared. My LD teacher in high school was one of them. but the problem with that was by the time I got to high school, because Lake High School isn't one big school. There was the elementary school that went from kindergarten to, I think, 6th grade. And then there was a middle school that went 7th, 8th, and 9th. And then the high school was 10th, 11th, 12th.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, well, I think they combined the buildings now, but this was back, obviously, in the 80s and the 90s. So by the time I got to the high school, by the time I got to be, was that freshman, 10th grade?
Technically, freshman is 9th.
Okay. Then
But
what?
for
Sophomore.
Sophomore's 10th.
Okay. By the time I got to sophomore, I was gone. There was no chance. I hated everything. I hated myself. I lied about absolutely. You could ask me my favorite color, and I would have told you a lie just because I didn't want you to know the truth. I was that far gone. So that teacher didn't have a chance. She just didn't have a chance. There's a couple teachers way back when I was in really grammar school that tried and failed. And then I had just pure shit teachers in just about every other category.
I had a handful of good ones, too.
Yeah. But by the time I got to high school, it was all my fault. High school was all me. I was just, the bridge had been burnt.
Yep.
By the previous teachers.
That's how I felt, too.
Teachers who left me sitting in the corner of the classroom crying because I was so frustrated and I was embarrassed. As a little kid, I was a tiny kid. And they just left me sit there crying, not caring, just thinking I would get over my little hissy fit. And it did damage. I thought I was stupid and couldn't keep up. So if I would have went to college, I just would have debt. I wouldn't have graduated. I probably wouldn't have absorbed any of the material.
$30,000 in credit card debt.
Credit card, it would be government debt now.
Yeah.
So you got to keep that in mind. Everyone deserves the opportunity, but not everyone is going to take it because some of us just need to learn hands-on. I learned how to build computers. I learned how to do a little bit of manipulating within Windows back in the millennium to, I would say, Windows 7. And the only reason I stop at 7 is because I actually haven't messed with 10 yet, so I don't know if I can do it or not. But my point is that I just read blogs and just worked on it. You play with this, and if you fuck it up, you just reformat the computer.
And that's the other thing. If something interests you, it's going to be different.
Right. I've learned how to record music in multiple instruments. I've taught myself how to make music videos. Now, granted, you may laugh at that, because nowadays, everyone knows how to do that. But I did that back in 2006 when YouTube just started. And, and a lot of the programs were either so expensive you couldn't afford them, or they were a little more lacking. I taught myself that stuff, whether it was a big feat or not. My point is that I'm capable of learning. I just learn differently than a classroom setting.
Yep.
And people like us are out there, and you have to accommodate us as well. So college isn't the answer for everybody.
No, it's not. And that's another thing. Like you said, people need to know.
So I'm down on the police academies. And you're completely willing to argue with me. I will listen. I will listen to your point, but you have to, if you're not willing to put up the effort to contact me and willing to come on, or at the very least, just talk through emails, then I guess I'm just never going to change my opinion.
I mean, I'm still for, you need longer training in it.
And psychology. I think actual psychiatrists need to get involved. And not only teach
I know during the
police
hiring,
officers.
The hiring process they do, just because they gave us the paper and it breaks down every step that I got to do until I get my test scores back and Maslin accepts me and all that. But other than that, I don't know. And then I know you got to do your, what is that? The polygraph.
Oh, yeah.
You got to do that too.
Is that even reliable?
I don't know.
I mean, if it's not admissible in court. Of course, I guess if you're smart enough to fake a polygraph, you probably should be able to absorb the information.
Probably.
I just think they need to do a better job at separating those who want to be a police officer because they think, I'll fix everything. I'll put those criminals in jail.
This person can do better.
Yeah. Instead of wanting to do it because, hey, even if you're just doing it because you respect how the law works.
Yep.
That is acceptable. I do know there was a woman out there, and unfortunately, I can't remember nothing. I don't remember who she was. I just remember she said something that was quite profound, and she said, the American judicial system on paper is almost perfect. If only it worked that way in reality. and she's right. The way the system is thought out is, I mean, it's like every fail-safe has been covered. But if only it performed that way in reality. And what she's talking about, I can't remember what she was talking about. I shouldn't have said that. But you know what I mean? Like lawyers who bend the truth. Like Johnny Cochran got O.J. off. Now, whether he really did it or not, it's not my point. But let's say if you believed he did it, then he was a lawyer who was able to get a murderer off.
Of getting
from a bunch of technicalities. Why? Why, you ask? Not because he did it or he didn't do it, but because the prosecution either couldn't do their job well enough or Johnny was just simply better. Now, that's how the system, so whether the system works properly in that instinct. And again, I'm just using that example. I'm not saying that O.J. is guilty and should have went to jail. I don't know. He was...
I wasn't even thought of at that time. So.
Right. He was exonerated in a court of law, and I accept that. The system did its job. Okay? If you think it was wrong, I don't know.
There's nothing you could do about it now.
Yeah, not now, but we could work to get better. We're certainly coming up with better systems to identify things. But my point is that a fast-talking lawyer. Maybe I should go to more lawsuit instead of the criminal system. I think that would improve my point a little better instead of going after OJ. Like for example, do y'all remember someone in your life decorates cookies and they had those little silver balls? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
they look like little
yes.
BBs. For the longest time, and you'd have to Google this because I can't remember nothing, those were illegal.
What?
Now, yeah, hold on. You can Google it. See, I don't know what you call them. Just silver ball candy cookie decorate. I don't know what they're called. But I remember this because I remember hearing that they've become illegal. They couldn't make them anymore because some lawyer, at the time, I didn't know the whole story, and I do now, but the lawyer proved in a court of law that they were a choke hazard or kids can stuff them up their nose and they were dangerous. So they were outlawed for the longest time. Then, years later, I started seeing them in stores again. And I went, oh, that's excellent. I see they brought them back. Because they're not overly tasty, but it was just compressed sugar. And I read somewhere in a store that had them on advertised, and they told me the story that this guy, I don't know his name because I can't remember nothing, he got out of law school, wanted to make a name for himself. So he grabbed a bottle of these and invented the story. No child had been hurt by this candy decoration, but he still was able to convince the jury that they could be potentially dangerous and they should be outlawed.
So I found it.
Okay, go ahead.
The state banned them in 2003 after one customer sued an in-state cake decorator for selling baked goods adorned with, I don't even know how to say the word, draggies.
Okay.
DRAGEES, claiming they posed a threat to children, oblivious to the potential dangers. Despite the lawsuit, experts still argue that draggies probably won't harm you, though.
Because they dissolve. Even if you stick them in your nose, they will dissolve over time. Now, does it say when they undid it? Because you can buy them now.
Let's see.
Now, I heard from this store that had this on a plaque, said that the lawyer did this just to make a name for himself so he could advance, because he was fresh out of law school, and he wanted to make a name for himself. So he figured he thought this out and had a good story, took it to court, won, made a name for himself,
Yep.
And then years later, someone else or something come up and said, wait a minute, these aren't going to hurt anybody. Even if you get them in your eye, they'll dissolve, so they're not going to blind you. At least I'm assuming they're not going to blind you. But anyways... And that's just an example of someone who can lie and manipulate the system. And
so there's another thing. December 11th, 2017. Silver draggies, often used to decorate holiday cakes and cookies, are safe to decorate with, but not safe to eat according to FDA guidelines.
That makes no sense. I've eaten those my entire life.
I know for a fact I've had to eat them because I know exactly what you were talking about.
Yeah, it's just compressed sugar. With a little bit of paint on them. And I'm sure it's not lead paint. No. Anyways, as you can see, that I was somewhat right, not right, but that the point is that...
I'd have to say you were right.
But, I mean, see if you can find me a single case where a child actually got hurt by them. You won't find it.
And my thing is, even if you're a child, yes, your airways are small and all that, but it was literally smaller than a BB.
Yeah. So even if you ate the whole bottle,
yeah,
you'd have to be force-fed them every day for probably years before enough of a bad chemical built up.
Yes.
So, Anyways.
But yeah, I can't find when they were.
I need to somehow tie this all together because I've been ranting for an hour now.
Banned them 2003. Are they still legal? While it's technically legal to sell silver draggies in most states across the U.S., the Food and Drug Administration does not recommend ingesting them. In fact, all brands selling them must label the sprinkles as for decoration only. And the baking, I don't know how to say that, I'm sorry, cannot be labeled as edible according to the Huffington Post.
What the hell? Why do they use those kind of words?
I don't know.
Screw you. Screw you.
I couldn't tell you.
Because the stupid people can't read that shit.
To me, it looks like bubbles, but I mean, it's clearly not bubbles.
Right now, someone's laughing at us. You dumbasses. I know what that word is.
Probably.
I don't care.
All right.
We don't have to be geniuses.
No?
Well, there you go. That was just an example. And now I'm struggling to put it all together. But anyways. So.
Apparently, there's a gold one, too.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
I like them specifically for that reason. I specifically buy them and support the industry. Because I know damn well they won't hurt you. If they hurt you, I wouldn't be here.
So another one is gold draggies can be very hard and could possess as a choking hazard to small children.
No, I don't believe that.
They
Unless
can also be hard on teeth, which, okay, I get,
Okay,
I get that one.
Yeah, you can
Please
bust a
be
tooth.
careful. Contains wheat and soy. So, okay, yes, they're hard, but in the same sense, they are tiny.
Pez are hard too. You know?
I could see somebody choking on more of a Pez than these things.
Yeah. They're so tiny that the air will go. I'm sorry. I don't believe that. I believe that
Or
that's...
hell, even what is the... Oh, I can't think of the candy with the circle in the middle. Lifesaver.
Lifesavers.
Yes.
Yeah.
People choke on those all the time, but apparently that's how they got their name because
Do you know why there's a hole in the middle?
Somebody choked and the circle saved them or something like that.
They put the hole in there so air can get through it if they get lodged in your throat.
Apparently, April 12th, 2007.
That's why there's holes in donuts. No, I'm kidding.
Those are just delicious.
It's because I shoved the whole bastard in my mouth as soon as I get them. Anyways.
April 12th, 07. They are safe to eat but should be removed before serving because of the real metal coating.
So like I said, you'd have to be force-fed a bunch of them for days.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I had never heard of that. I just remember seeing them on a cookie or a cake, and you ate it and you called it a day.
For years, you couldn't buy them because I actually asked my mother. I was young. I was like, why don't you ever put these on the cookies? And they're illegal. And I went,
what?
Sorry, Tim.
That's absurd.
But and
God.
then they started doing it again. So
That's crazy. I never knew that. I'm mind blown right now.
And getting one when your kid shoves one up his nose. Now that could actually block a nostril if the kid's small enough.
Yes.
You plug the other nostril and blow hard.
Yep.
And then you essentially become a human BB gun.
That could be very interesting.
It's also very entertaining. Your kids may do it on purpose. Hey, Mom.
Mine would do it just to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But anyways, we're going to wrap this episode up. Just want to say congratulations, Ricky, for taking the test. Hope you pass. If you do get into police academy, we're going to kick your ass because we won't want you to turn into be a Derek jackass, whatever his name is.
Oh, Derek Chavin, no, I could never. I'm excited. I know.
You got to care. You got to care
yeah.
even about the jackass who threatens to kill you because he's drunk or high. You got to care about the guy. Your job is to apprehend, stop crime, not kill people.
Nope.
But my heart goes out to that police officer in Columbus because he was in an impossible situation, and he's human. And all those who judge him, LeBron, you are no better. You would have not handled that situation a single bit better.
I don't think anybody could have, honestly.
No, it was
There's no way in
seconds.
hell.
He showed up seconds before that woman was going to stab the other woman.
Yeah. And he
saved that woman's life.
Yep. And he had to take a life, too, in the process. But in the same sense,
And you
She
know
had
another
the
thing, he
knife.
didn't aim for that woman's head. He just shot towards the body.
Body mass.
So, I mean, you got a, 50-50 shot of killing someone by just shooting?
I mean, considering they flat out tell you shoot to kill, so he could have probably did 10 rounds and.
But you know
she
the
was
thing,
dead
you
at the
can't.
fist.
I remember one person saying he should have shot at her butt or her lower back or her legs. There was a human being on the other. The bullets go straight; they don't turn.
Nope.
So there was the person trying to stab someone and someone right on the other side. He had to shoot and to stop the one person, not shoot and kill both of them.
Yep.
And then how come everyone ignores this asshole dude stomping on this woman to his right?
Yep.
How come nobody saw that? That's the first thing I saw is who is this dude stomping the shit out of some woman?
Yep.
No, I commend that police officer. I actually don't know what happened because that was a while ago and I didn't follow up on it.
Yeah, I didn't either. I
think he got exonerated if I'm not mistaken. I hope I'm right on that.
I don't know. I don't remember.
We'll look it up. We got a couple of minutes.
Okay, I'll do that. Because
But
I do know when it first
I saw
happened,
the video.
It was a big ordeal when that first happened.
Yeah, I saw the video and I said the police officer did the right thing because that woman was potentially trying to murder the other woman. All right, I don't care if you say, well, people don't die from stab wounds. Bullshit. All right, BS. You can absolutely die from a stab wound. So,
Oh yeah.
and if you're so angry that you're going to stab someone, sorry, you're a murderer. Do not care.
I think I found it. I could be wrong. I don't know. We'll find out when we get to it. All right, come on, stop refreshing. Let's go.
Yeah, that's
Columbus.
it. That's
okay.
it. That's
Columbus police officer who shot and killed 16-year-old. I'm not saying the name. I don't care. Look it up if you want to know. Last year has been cleared of any criminal wrongdoing.
Yes.
Ohio prosecutors announced Friday.
Yes. Good.
This person was killed in April by a Columbus police officer as she swung a knife at a young woman just seconds after pushing another woman to the ground. This person, I don't understand that. Why is it a black or white thing? Who the fuck cares? I'm sorry.
Doesn't matter. Skin color
God.
matters not at all when it comes to crime.
It says the person's name was black and this person's name is white. Who the hell cares? Jesus Christ.
You mean, the white? No, they were both black girls.
It says this person was black and this person is white. I don't know.
The police officer was white. Everybody else involved, I believe, was black.
Yeah, but my thing is,
a black
who
woman
cares?
was trying
Why
to
does it
kill
matter?
a black woman, and a black dude was stomping the shit out of a black woman.
Police were responding to a 911 call made from this person's foster home about a group of girls threatening to stab members of the household. The killing led to a Justice Department review of the police department in Ohio's capital city. This person was shot 4 times and died from her injuries. The coroner listed the cause of death as a homicide, a medical determination used in cases where someone has died, someone else's hands. Heightened tensions in Ohio's capital city over fatal police shootings of black people and also cast a light on the state's foster care system.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yes. But my thing is, I don't understand why they got to put that in there.
Because it gets people mad. Make it a race issue. That way people will read the article,
Like,
people get involved.
I get that, but in the same sense, I'm pissed because who cares? They're
Yeah.
a person, use
A human
their
being is a
flipping
human
name.
being.
Just use their name. Who cares if they're black, white, brown, pink? Who cares?
Yeah. Well, people shouldn't care.
God.
If
But
it's a
yes.
human being, we should care about him, period.
Yes. But yeah, he was cleared of any wrongdoing. Okay. Well,
Well, there you
got
go.
that one out of the way.
So
That's
you keep
interesting.
that in mind. Yeah, I'm
But-
glad he didn't try to shoot for her, I don't know, her legs or arms, because he definitely could have tagged someone who he wasn't trying to shoot at.
Yep, and then he'd go to jail for shooting somebody else.
Well, even so, the point is that he did it right.
Yes.
He shot in the bulk of the body to where he could make sure the bullets were going where they're supposed to go.
After he had split seconds to determine what the hell was
a fraction
going on.
of a second. I saw the video. She was in mid trying to stab when he pulled up.
Yep.
I'm surprised he got out of the car that quick.
Yeah.
I'd have been, knowing me, the seatbelt would still be on, and I'm trying to get out of the fucking car and shooting shit.
And my thing is, it's not like you can just run them over with a car either.
Well, yeah, just drive into them. Fuck
Yeah.
it. Use the car as a battering ram.
I mean, do it when you're driving, but it's a little different.
Yeah, no. I'm glad he was exonerated. If
Yes.
that's the right word. What is that word? Doesn't matter. All right, peeps, we're going to close this out. Sorry we didn't get to any other topics, but
We got sidetracked very rapidly again.
obviously we had issues we need to talk about.
We need to see somebody.
That's why I do this. This is therapy. Again, if any of you disagree with anything, please hit us up. Let us know. We won't argue. Well, we may argue, but we'll listen. We'll listen to what your point of view. You can hit us up on Ohio Gripe Gmail, or you can hit us up on Facebook or YouTube because we're live streaming this to YouTube. Don't sit and simmer. Just say your piece. Tell us what you think, and we will listen. We're not going to sit here. We're not conservatives, and we're not liberals.
Oh, you're wrong. You're 100%. That's just terrible.
Oh, are you a conservative?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Am
then
I?
you're not. Because if you knew, okay, we're not out there to politically bash you. We
Oh,
want to know.
no.
We want to know what people think. We want to know what you think and why you think that way. We're curious. We're just human beings. So hit us up, man. Let us know. We'll listen. You want to be on the Gripe and talk about it? No problem. All right. Until then, we'll talk to you later.
Oh, yeah.